full magnitude from the curriculum example, which is 790 plus 300, 1090. 1090 pounds per foot. It drops it on the beam and it analyzes, gives me shear moment. Good so far?
Yeah.
Okay. Options. On the right box, the one with the shear moment
there it
guidance.
is.
Options. Yeah, they've got different things over here than they do over here. So let's click options over once we get the shear moment diagram. Again, we're going to go down to design. Click design. Why in the world this came out so small is beyond me. That's interesting. Cross section. Up at the top, checkbox. Standard. Top one is steel AISC US customary designation. Choose flange shapes. Click it. Look at that. Stop for a second. Is everybody with me? Yep. Okay. On the bottom of the flange shapes box are all the designations. Let's choose the W12 at 16. I believe they are sorted lowest depth to highest depth. Don't use an HP, those are piles.
Are we doing the 12 by 19?
Do the 12 at 16 so we can match what's in the
Oh,
curriculum to start,
okay.
and we'll change it and see what happens.
Oh.
Okay,
12.
so
12 by
W12
By
at
16.
16 and say, yeah, 12 at 16 and say compute. When you do compute, it actually draws in the properties of the shape. So now it's giving me a shape that kind of looks like what it was, rather than the chunky one that I had before. Notice a few of these things. It gives me the 0.22, which is the one that I remember, which is the thickness of the web. Steel type in gray down below. If we're not designing it, we don't really need to do this, but just for a matter of being complete. Click A992. That is an ASTM specification for that steel.
Where at?
And that gives you a yield stress of
Steel
50
type,
PSI as we're using.
Drop down.
Click compute again just to make sure they're caught.
A992.
A992.
The second
Those-
one. No,
wait,
second
wait.
one. All the way up. Yeah.
If you look at this on the right, it gives you all the properties. So here's the 103 that we've been looking at,
Computer again.
17.1 for our section
Oh,
modules. So they're all right there. Yep, I'm gonna close this because I don't need these. It just kind of gives me the properties and it's in my way.
Would we,
Oh.
Chris, pardon me for interrupting, would we use those properties to do a manual
Yeah,
calculation?
you could use those too, but then that forces you to go in here and actually select a shape without really knowing this, where it lands in the spectrum of what kind of section modulus you got. So it's probably better to choose it outside than import it now.
Got it.
Okay. So nothing's changed here because nothing's changed here. I just changed the properties and showed the real beam. I can go to options and I could do slope and deflection diagrams. And voila, it gives me a deflection for the beam on the bottom. It gives me a slope at the top, deflection at the bottom, in inches, make sure that your units are inches, which are at the bottom. And it gives me negative 0.86, which I believe is what we calculated by hand.
Yes, it was 0.86.
Yeah, so if I looked in this curriculum example, it gave me 0.86 versus 0.9 works. Here's 0.86, and they just kind of truncated at that point. They put 0.861 is what they have. 862. So now I'm able to check my deflection for the total loading for that beam. Stop for a second. Everybody kind of with me? You did an update? When you did what?
How did you
The
find the
option?
slope deflection? What did you have to press in?
My moment diagram.
Options,
So
slope.
go up to options.
Second one down,
You
yeah.
click slope and deflection diagrams at the top, and then that'll change it.
My computer shut down, so
That's actually pretty cool.
yeah.
How I understand deflection.
Check my mark.
Oh, I
So this is
just,
for
that
the
makes
full
sense.
loading.
You know what I mean?
Let's look back and see, well, we should be able to get the same answer for the other loading, right, for the live loading. So let's go back and do that. If I can go back and I'm gonna look at shared moment diagrams, I'm gonna, let's close this, and close that, and it brings back up this determinate B module. So, I can change my loading at this point, and it remembers everything, I think, we'll find out in a second. Go to edit, and click back,
Folder.
and to edit down at the bottom. So if you've still got those boxes that are the flange shapes, just X them out until you get back to this screen. So if I go to edit, it gives me the load that I had originally put in. If you put in a new load, it'll add it on top, so be careful about that. Delete this load. So I took it off. Input a new load of 790, which is just the live load, and click enter. And look at the moment and shear diagram has updated for the new loading, which is just your live load. So you're not gonna analyze the do not analyze the strength off of that, but we can go to options and choose slope and deflection diagrams, and voila, it gives me the deflection for just live loads. 0.624, so it's actually a little bit better, but still not okay compared to what the curriculum gave us. So, yeah, so if I don't like this and I want to change my shape, go to options, go to design, cross-section, standard shapes, I think I could have clicked where I was, and choose W12 at 19 and say compute. The box of shade properties comes up again, I'm gonna close it, but look, it comes down to 0.4949 for the loading, and if I go to what they checked for the W12 at 19, they had 0.50, there we are.
What,
Very cool.
what was the,
So,
Options,
So we get to do our homework on my
Design.
Canva, like using this, right?
and then
So-
we're gonna go to cross-section,
so
and we're
you
gonna
can
change
do
it
your homework
to.
as it says, do it by
I did
hand,
that.
and then do it, then
You're gonna change it to the
download
19.
and import both.
The
to show you know how to do
Yeah,
both.
because you wanna see that now.
Where's-
loaded.
oh, the night, oh, the,
And then
okay.
click,
The
compute.
W12
Which one
19.
is our homework?
Okay, so yeah, let's talk about that next. So before I close this out, any other empty cells questions that you wanna talk about?
I think I learned more in 2 minutes than I did when I did our POE curriculum.
Selecting a new beam, so, you put the new load in already? Okay, go back to options, design, cross-section, standard. Yeah, go to steel and flange shape. And if you check that, then you can recheck the 12 and 18. This will take a few tries, right? Make up a problem that's in the curriculum, try it. Do it by hand, maybe do it by this solution. While you're cranking away hard at your commercial project, maybe I'll make up a few that I give you some solutions, I can post them on the community. You can try them in MSOE and see if you can make it happen. All right, so let's talk about deliverables then. I can close this? You're done. Oh, by the way, you can save those solutions if you want to, I'm just choosing not to and close it. File save as. Okay, let me get back to the PLTW world here.
Yeah.
Is everybody, I think we talked about beam analysis good enough, that submittal number 10, we talked about that before?
This should be 11.
So this should be.
This is
so
11.
This is number 11. So let me bring up the discussion of the deliverable, and then I'll bring up the deliverable sheet.
Because it wasn't gonna be on the-
Okay, beam design. Master teachers will provide an overview of stuff, which I think was just done. We'll demonstrate calculations for at least one of the beams girders in the activity 326. Let's look at activity 326.
That was what we just did, the analysis
That's
one.
Is that what we just did? Okay.
Mhm.
Chris,
Uh,
this seems to indicate when you bring up the deliverable itself, that they're referring back to this one that we did in
Yeah.
10?
Yeah, they
Yes.
are.
Yes, because you need the forces and things.
So are we gonna be analyzing this for deflection in
Let's-
11?
Let's look at what this says, I don't remember all the details of this. Review activity 322 loads, attempt to complete the calculations required for at least one beam and one girder in 326 beam design the master teacher did not present.
Okay.
So let's look at activity 326 beam design. Activity.
You showed us the beginning of the day.
Yeah, I think I should, yeah, I think I did.
Very beginning.
Yeah, I just kind of scrolled through it quickly, didn't I?
Yeah, you just showed us the beginning. Okay, so this one.
And then the
I mean, if you
current-
look at the deliverable, it says to attach an image of hand calculations you completed to select an efficient steel wide flange based upon your beam analysis assignment from the previous submission,
That sounds like this.
which is that, right?
Yeah, 3.2.
So it wants us to do what the the hand calculations for what you just demonstrated to us for that beam analysis assignment.
For the one that we put on the board,
That's what it's asking us.
yeah, there's a lot of bullet points here, let's see.
Yeah.
Attach-
It basically wants us to
yeah.
get to the point where we select a wide flame shape.
Yep, attach an image of the hand calculations completed to select an efficient steel wide flange, see if the loads represented in the beam diagram you created for, yes, okay, so the one that's got the two loads on it,
That's it.
let's select a beam for it and run through all the hand calculations. Flexure, which is the MN greater than your MA times omega. Shear, 0.6 FYAW. And deflection. For deflection, that's got two concentrated loads on it. Let's use, I don't know, do we have the one in the curriculum that's going to give us that?
It
I think we
doesn't
do.
give us
Ha-ha. Ha-ha.
one. Where's that?
Ah, this is 3.2.4 beam analysis shortcuts, the actual curriculum piece.
Okay.
3.2.4 beam analysis shortcuts, you can do the hand count for deflection. Deflection max is P times A over 24 EI times the quantity 3L squared minus 4A squared. They define what P, A, and L are on this beam number 6. That is the one that we just did, where A is equal to 25 over 3. So it's, yeah, symmetrical for the one we're doing.
So
So
number
this
six.
is number 1 for submission 11?
Yes,
So do number 6.
yep. So that's part 1. So yeah, so we're gonna do, the number 6 is the one that we use for the deflection calcs. You can also use it, I mean, you've got the hand calcs there too. If you did the hand calcs using some of the moments, you've already got the reactions and you can draw the shear moment diagrams if you haven't yet. And then you've got the shear moment. Okay, so you can actually compare it to these pre-canned numbers on number 6 on this curriculum right here. Okay, they should come out the same. Basically what it's 1,100 pounds is our loads down. So reaction should be 1,100 pounds up. Moment should be P times A. P is 1,100, A is 25 over 3. It's the distance from the end support to the first load.
Okay, wait, repeat that one more time. I'm writing it down.
Yeah, P times A. So it's actually right here on the screen.
Do you want us to resubmit in 11 what we did as hand calculations and the shear moment diagram that we did for
It is
10?
in the submission.
Okay, so if you've done it
We're
for
doing the-
11,
we're doing the
if you've done
other
it for
pieces
10,
too.
The shear and the
okay.
deflection.
But all that, what
Use
you
the
just
numbers
said,
from
we
10,
already
reference
did.
Yeah, so
back
we're
to 10,
calculating
say,
bending,
from
shear,
assignment
deflection.
10,
Of
here's
this right
my
here, right?
shear,
And
here's my
deciding
moment,
what we
and
wanna
we
use
design the
for
Which
the
beam should be used
There's no
for?
reason to do it twice.
So, are there any like caveats to this? Like, choose the latest one,
Choose the lightest one.
Okay.
Go, and you can use my spreadsheet,
Oh, I will.
and you can snip on it, snip a picture of that, say that box that I've got there, and maybe that's the latest one that you've chosen, and you can use that for putting into empty solids and doing your hand calculation.
Okay.
We need to do calculations for bending strength, shear strength, and deflection.
Deflection, yes. You may assume, because for that problem, they didn't tell you whether it was, dead load or live load on that thing. let's calculate it such that that is going to be, we need to satisfy L/360 for the loading that's on the beam. Sound fair?
Is that,
And we'll do one-
that's live and dead then?
Just live.
Yeah, just assume that it's it's gonna be for the LIBO calculation, they'll give you the essence of what we're doing for a deflection calculation. Because that example that came from the beam analysis didn't dice it out. So do it by hand, write everything down, okay, check it, and then put it into, I keep saying visual analysis, because that's what we use here. Empty solids, and use snips and drop it in with the shear and moment diagrams. You know, as you go through, you know, say matches hand calculations, that would help me, so I can see that you've actually looked back and saw the hand calculations versus empty solids. Find the deflection, and then give me a final decision on whether the beam works or not. W12 at 22, okay, check mark, just like they did in the curriculum.
Still using steel, right?
Yep, A992, E is 29 million PSI for steel, FY is 50. And the rest of the properties you have to find in the spreadsheet. A is the distance from the support point to the first building. Yes, so these are two equal concentrated loads, and that's what's our. No, you solved it in the beam analysis. All right, let's go back to the deliverable, because there's probably more.
No.
Probably.
Not really?
It's really small this
Oh,
time.
Yeah, there's only like 3 things.
Oh. Yeah, so you attach a screenshot of your empty solid deflection diagram for the beam. You might want to do more than that, just so you've got a record of what you've done, and it's right there for you. Drop it in there, but this is what we'll look at as the deflection diagram. Yeah, and then there's classroom implications for extended core training, so lesson 3.2 answer the questions that they're asking. Here's the good news. There's great news, besides the fact that we just went through a bunch of awesome structural stuff.
Okay.
There's only one more, with the exception of your big project that we're gonna finish on Thursday, there's only one more deliverable we're gonna have to talk about, which is foundation design, and we're gonna do that tomorrow. Because I think I've crammed enough stuff in.
Yeah.
Was that- No, we won't need to go to the lab. We're gonna talk about the cookies that are still sitting over there, and then we'll talk about how to size a footing for loads. And I'll also give you one more tool to use, because the curriculum doesn't go from beams to footing, it pretends there's no columns in between. I'll give you a tool that you can select a basic column. So another spreadsheet that you can use. It's very easy to use. So there'll be a way that you can select a column.
Hey guys, really quick. So